Hello and welcome to this special meeting of the Council of the Town of Oakville. Madam Clerk, I understand we have regrets from Councillor Palmer.
Yes.
Council, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Madam Clerk, I see none. And Council, we have two items before us tonight, both concerning the cultural heritage landscape of Glen Abbey. The first is a resolution that I have recommended to you, which is being moved by Councillor Duddeck and seconded by Councillor Chisholm. And that is here, and I think it's attached to your agenda. And I don't propose to read it, but Councillor Duddeck has a few remarks that she'd like to provide. And I know the rest of you all read the thing very carefully. And then we will have a kind of a housekeeping motion that ties it all together into a package and sends it off to the authorities. And it's my proposal, subject to your agreement, that we ask Councillors Elgar and Longo to move and second that one. Does that generally meet with your approval? Very well. Councillor Duddeck, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Worship. 15 years ago, we decided we needed a new land use official plan. We built it from the ground up with real public consultation and unanimous approval. The result was the Livable Oakville official plan. The new Livable Oakville official plan was prepared to conform to the provincial growth plan and be consistent with the provincial policy statement. Livable Oakville was approved by the region of Halton with input by the province. Then it was appealed by many developers. Finally, the OMB ordered it into force. The plan identified where we will grow so that we can maintain the character of residential areas. Direct growth to an identified system of nodes and corridors. Protect our green spaces that we call our natural heritage system and our built and cultural heritage. The plan requires conservation of significant cultural heritage resources in accordance with provincial policy. Glen Abbey Golf Course is a significant cultural heritage resource. Before we completed the final steps of designating it as a significant cultural heritage landscape, the owner applied to replace the golf course with 3,222 residential units and commercial buildings. That redevelopment proposal would not only result in the loss of the property's cultural heritage value, but it is also contrary to the town's established urban structure based on strategic growth areas aligned with planned transit infrastructure, which are to be the focus for accommodating intensification. In the 2018 provincial election, the winning party and its successful MPP candidates in Oakville promised to save Glen Abbey. Mayor Burton, I believe you used their election flyer as a visual backdrop last month when asking Regional Council to back Chair Gary Carr's and your motion calling on the government to keep their promise. Their resolution passed unanimously. That very afternoon, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing wrote to the regional chair and the mayor. His letter asked our local and regional councils to tell the minister what provincial tools we would like to be used to protect Glen Abbey. Just 5 days later, Oakville MPP Stephen Crawford also wrote a letter to the mayor and council and the public on Glen Abbey. He called on us to ask the minister for a minister's zoning order, or an MZO, to help them keep their promise. A minister's zoning order is just one of the possible tools the minister could use to fulfill the government's promise. We are now considering the mayor's recommendation to pass a local resolution to ask the minister to use the MZO power, as well as several others. Tomorrow, Regional Council will also consider this. Taken together, the powers identified in the resolution would make it possible for the government to keep its promise. Since 2018, my colleague, Town Councillor Ray Chisholm, and I represent the ward that features the Glen Abbey Cultural Heritage Landscape. Before 2018, our colleagues, Town and Regional Councillor Alan Elgar and Town Councillor Peter Longo, represented this area. We all owe them our sincere appreciation for how long and hard they have worked to get us to this day. We also need to recognize the dedicated volunteers in the community who have worked tirelessly in dedicating thousands of hours and written thousands of letters and emails to add their voice in having this property conserved. While Councillor Chisholm and I have the honor to move and second this resolution, it really should have every member of council's name as moving the resolution, as it has definitely been a team effort. Given that team effort, Councillor Chisholm and I are asking for council's unanimous recorded vote in support of Mayor Burton's resolution. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Duddeck. Councillor Chisholm, do you want to add any words to that?
Thank you, Your Worship. I think Councillor Duddeck has been bang right on and very articulate and through the whole process with respect to our dealings with Glen Abbey. But just one other thing I want to highlight is to understand that in speaking to the report, I would like to say that Glen Abbey site is more than a golf course. Glen Abbey has been a community venue. It has staged fundraising events. It's a major tourist attraction and a mainstay for Oakville community, not just for golf, but the appreciation of the ecological and natural habitat within the site. I view the Glen Abbey site as a major green space in the heart of Oakville that must be maintained in the health and the enjoyment for future generations.
Thank you, Councillor. I propose now, for the benefit of the public, to read the operative part of the resolution rather than the whereases. This is the therefore part. And I'm reading it so that people will know the 4 tools that we're requesting the province to use. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the province is requested to use the following tools. 1, an order by the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing under Section 47 of the Planning Act to ensure the conservation of the Glen Abbey Golf Course Cultural Heritage Landscape. Section 47, I will add, going off the sheet for a second, that is the minister's zoning order power. That's what that means. 2, special legislation to ensure the conservation of the Glen Abbey Golf Course Cultural Heritage Landscape. 3, an order by the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing establishing the Glen Abbey Golf Course lands as a development planning area under the Ontario Planning and Development Act, and preparation and approval of the development plan to ensure the conservation of the Glen Abbey Golf Course Cultural Heritage Landscape. And 4, that the minister advise the Ontario Land Tribunal under Section 22 sub 11.1 and Section 17 sub 51 of the Planning Act that a matter of provincial interest is or is likely to be adversely affected by the amendment in respect of which the appeal is made regarding Club Link's proposed official plan amendment and Club Link's appeals of the Town of Oakville official plan amendment number 15 and Town of Oakville official plan amendment number 24. And further, that the province is requested to fully support the town and the region in proceedings related to the conservation of the Glen Abbey Golf Course Cultural Heritage Landscape and protection of the town's urban structure. The Councillor has asked for a recorded vote. Do any of you have questions or comments? May I put the vote? Madam Clerk, would you do the roll call vote?
Sure. Councillor Adams,
Yes?
Councillor Chisholm,
Yes.
Councillor Duddeck,
Yes?
Councillor Elgar,
Yes.
Councillor Giddings,
Yes.
Councillor Grant,
Yes.
Councillor Haslett Theo,
Yes.
Councillor Knoll,
Yes.
Councillor Lischina,
Yes.
Councillor Longo,
Yes.
Councillor O'Meara,
Yes.
Councillor Robertson,
Yes.
and Councillor Sandu.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. That passes unanimously. It's now in order for consideration of the motion moved by Councillor Elgar and Councillor Longo, seconded by Councillor Longo. One, that the letter to Mayor Burton from the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing dated June 16th, assuring that the future use, heritage protection, and related matters concerning the Glen Abbey Golf Course lands are not only of significant local interest, but are also matters of provincial interest, and requesting Town Council identify through a council resolution if there is a specific proposal for the use of any provincial tool in relation to the lands be received. And this has the effect of making the letter, a public document, as it should be. Number two, that the letter to Mayor Burton from Member of Provincial Parliament Stephen Crawford, dated June 21st, urging Town Council to formally request, through a council resolution, that Minister Clark issue a minister's zoning order to protect the Glen Abbey Golf Club be received. Three, that the report from the legal department dated June 29th be received. And four, that the mayor be authorized to write to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing in response to the minister's letter to convey Council's request for the use of provincial tools in relation to the Glen Abbey Cultural Heritage Landscape. And five, that the council resolution on this matter be forwarded to ClubLink Corporation ULC and ClubLink Holdings Limited, Premier Doug Ford, the Honorable Steve Clark, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Honorable Lisa MacLeod, Minister of Heritage, Sport, Tourism and Culture Industries, the Honorable Doug Downey, Attorney General, the City of Burlington, the Town of Halton Hills, the Town of Milton, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the leaders of the provincial opposition parties, Halton's MPPs, the Greater Golden Horseshoe Municipalities, Conservation Halton, and the Fairway Hills Community Association. Is there any comment or question? May I put the vote? Is there any objection to the motion? Madam Clerk, there being no objection, the motion carries. Thank you, everybody. It's now in order to move to the consideration and reading of bylaws, this being the confirmatory bylaw. I need a mover and seconder. Councillor Lischina and Councillor Giddings, thank you. Any objection? Madam Clerk, there being no objection, that is carried. And I thank you for your time and attention. It's been great working with you. And that ends our meeting. See you at the next one.